Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back here with Dr. Dave Wendel and Amy Stopczynski. Excited to have them here from Shores Wellness Solutions. And by the way, that's their website, shoreswellnesssolutions.com. Dr. Dave is a chiropractor and his wife as well. She's a nutrition response testing practitioner. She's got many accolades as a certified clinician as well in whole food nutrition, which I know is big to them. We've talked a lot about that. Whole foods, and of course, even like amazing supplements, but also there's a lot to them, and I'll have them do more of an introduction. Go ahead, guys.
Awesome. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Well, thanks for having us back again. You mentioned certified clinician in whole food nutrition. Just to give your listeners and our viewers an idea about what that is. That course was in the medical schools up until the mid-1950s. And the pharmaceutical companies came in and said, get rid of that course because we're not going to get people well anymore. We're just going to cover up their symptoms with drugs. And it's a pretty intense course. Usually takes practitioners a couple of years to complete. So Amy and I are both CCWFN, certified clinicians in whole food nutrition. And it's just an incredible course. And the knowledge in that is just unbelievable. And it goes back to the pioneers of nutrition, such as Royal Lee, Francis Pottinger, Melvin Page, Weston Price. There's a lot of incredible nutritionists over the last 150 years who have contributed to that program to get people well using whole food, using food, not drugs or surgery.
Beautiful. Amy, do you want to add anything?
So we've been practicing here in Michigan for how long now? I never know the numbers. I always think, 2 years, and it's always a lot longer.
Yep, 4.5 years.
Okay, 4.5 years in Michigan. Dr. Dave was in New Jersey for 27 years. So we've got a lot of background in helping people get well. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about natural solutions for your allergies. That's something that we're going to discuss in a little bit more depth because even though it's not technically allergy season, we still have a lot of patients coming in saying they have a lot of allergy issues. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about a background about what allergies are. We're going to talk a little bit about some natural ways that you can resolve those issues and ways that, your body can help be resolved so you're not having or experiencing those issues as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a great way or a great time to start resolving your allergy issues, if you have spring allergies, is now. You don't wait till your car is going over the cliff to stop it before you get there. Yeah. You stop the car before. And being that it's mid-season, during the winter months when everything's cold and the summer months when everything's hot and dry, you're not suffering so much from those spring and fall allergies. So now's the perfect time to really work on your body to get it well so that you're not going to be suffering this coming spring.
Interesting. Gosh, I've done those allergy panel tests. My goodness, and my children and the ragweed and the birch and all these things exploded on our arms. And I actually did years ago the shots, right? I did that for like 3 years because I worked to dust mites, to cats. I had cats. My intolerance now is down, but then I got pregnant. I couldn't do the shots anymore. And now I worry about my child who has severe allergies to a lot of these trees and all outside. And every spring he puffs up. And what do? The doctor just offers medicine, but that's temporary. And he doesn't like taking it. So this is a great conversation. I'm very curious to find out some of these remedies that you can use.
This is an awesome one. You're not going to like it if I'm taking drugs to cover up symptoms. It's like saying I'm ugly, so I'll put a bag over my head so you don't see it.
Yeah.
Right. I knew you could do that. And so not that you might not need a medication from time to time, but that's not the way to manage your symptoms, particularly with allergies. Mm-hmm. You want to look at the cause. And one of the biggest things that we know is cleaning out the digestive tract, getting that liver and intestinal tract clean. And when you do that, all of a sudden your allergy symptoms are significantly reduced or gone. I'll turn it over to you, dear.
Well, we want to look at first, what are some of the causes of allergies? Because if you don't understand what's causing some of the things, we can't help you resolve them. Okay. So some of the different causes of allergies, there's pollen from trees. You were saying that your son has those issues, plants, grass, dust, different things around your home. There's a lot of things that people put in their homes that are quite toxic, like those plugins. If If you have one of those plugins ever in your home, you should remove it. That's one of the most toxic things you can have in your home.
The things that make you smell nice, like the scents, really?
Yeah. So any of those, that's probably one of the most toxic things you can have in your home. And that's the number one thing you should get out of your home first if you want to reduce allergy symptoms.
If you want your home to smell nicer, get a nice diffuser and put some essential oils in there.
Wow. Okay.
Not the cheap ones in the store that are just, petroleum.
Yeah. You can have food allergies. So there's certain foods, dairy, tree nuts, peanuts, eggs, soy, shellfish. Those things are very common allergens for people. Insect bites, animal fur and dander, mold, medications, actually, which a lot of times people are on medications, but you may be having an allergy to the medication that you're on to help resolve your allergy issue, which could make it worse long term. So it's really important to pay attention.
Quick blurb in about that.
Sure.
So medications, a study that will never be done in our lifetime. The impairment of people who are taking multiple medications.
Wow.
So my last practice was in the community with 13 adult communities in that town. And you look at the average person 65 and over, they're taking 15 prescribed medications all year round. So do an impairment study with somebody that's on 4 medications. They won't do it because they know it'll happen. The people will give up taking the drugs because they won't be able to drive.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to interject
for
a little bit.
You guys are cute.
So you also want to look at, how do you even know if you have an allergy? What are some of the symptoms that you're going to experience if you are suffering from some type of allergy? You can have a runny or stuffy nose, sneezing, wheezing, shortness of breath are signs, cough, rashes, hives, fatigue, headaches. It goes on and on. Nausea, vomiting, excess mucus, watery eyes, itchy throat. All those things could be a symptom of an allergy that you're experiencing. Moodiness,
irritability, fatigue. Oh, you said fatigue.
I did.
But moodiness, irritability, mood swings, those things can also be signs of allergies, sensitivities to environment or foods.
Right. And something that we do here in our office. So if you're local and you have any of those symptoms, we do something called nutrition response testing in our office. So if you're local, what we would do is do a series of tests. We use test kits that have a whole bunch of different things that I mentioned before that you may be allergic to. Mm-hmm. We would go through the body, do a scan so we can see what part of the body is affected. And we would also check to see why it's affected. And what's causing it. It could be any of the things. You could have a chemical stressor. You could have a food sensitivity. There could be virus, mold, all kinds of different things. And we're going to check for those things to see what is causing that. But then we go even further. After we know what's causing it, we're going to check all the different supplements we have, specifically to you, what's going to remedy those issues. So instead of adding medications into your body, which could cause a bigger issue and more allergy symptoms, we're going to give you a whole food supplement, and we'll even dose you on that to see exactly what you need to resolve those allergy symptoms that you're experiencing.
Oh,
and expand.
I think you did a fantastic job.
Well, let me ask a basic question. I think a lot of people would. What causes allergies? How does that all work, Doc?
Well, what causes it? I don't want to get too technical. So when you're allergic to something, you get an immune response. I'll keep it that way.
Okay.
You get an immune response in the body that will act to protect you. And so what's that protection? Excess mucus to trap the things that you're eating or breathing in so it doesn't get further or deeper into your body. And if the reaction is too much, that's when you have that stuffy nose, that hay fever, that headache that goes along with it, the lung issue with breathing.
Yeah.
And so when you get those, that's just your body over responding to the stimulus that's there.
It's trying to protect itself. So basically, it'll give you this really strong response because it's trying to protect whatever organ it might be affecting and things like that. And so your body causes these symptoms. So like, let's say your nose is running and draining. It's trying to get that foreign substance out of your body. Yeah. And so your body is trying to get rid of it and protect the rest of the body. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing that you've got this drainage and you've got it's not fun, but your body's trying to protect itself. So what we want to do is we want to feed the body the right nutrition, take out the things that are causing the allergies. We need to remove that from the body and feed it what it needs so it can heal and repair. And so you'll get rid of those symptoms and they won't be coming back. But when those things do happen, it's not necessarily a bad thing because you don't want to keep it in. The more you keep it in the body, it's going to hurt you even more. So the body's trying to get rid of it as best it can, so your body can heal.
And if you think about it, healthy natural symptoms have been villainized over the last half century. You look at vomiting, diarrhea, fever, coughing. People look at that as a bad thing, particularly now because they've lost their minds. But but you look at that, and those things are normal things. Vomiting, diarrhea. What are they for? They're to get something out of the body that could be potentially deadly, and that's the most rapid way to get things out. A skin rash. That's when your liver is overburdened and can't handle processing and rendering harmless something that's in your body, so your body pushes it out through the skin. A rash. Fever is designed to immobilize microbes. I like the example of, if it's 100 degrees outside and sunny, do you want to play tennis or sit under a shade tree sipping a little iced tea or lemonade? Most people, rational people, will want that shade tree or the iced tea or lemonade if it's 100 degrees and sunny out, not tennis. And so if you look at your body when it's invaded with microbes, if it's a virus, you're going to have a fever up to 99-ish, 100. If it's a bacteria, it's going to be up around 102. If it's a parasite, it's going to be up 103. And if it's cold temperature, you're looking more at fungus in your body. And so people look to suppress the fever when really, if you just let it go, you'll be sick a lot less. They did studies on this pretty extensively years ago, and they found out if you suppress a fever, usually a cold will last about 7 days or longer. If you let it go, now if someone's got a burning head, throw a compress on there. But if you let the fever go, it's 3 days or less.
Interesting. Wow. Kind of opposite from what I thought and what we've been told. Okay. Thank you.
Right. I know if the flu goes through our household, I know I'm out of it in about 4 hours max. People say, "Oh, that's impossible." No, it's really possible. I overhydrate. I'll drink a quart or two of water. I'll put on 3-4 layers of clothes, 3-4 blankets, and lay down and take a nap instead of, pushing myself. Most people, when they have the flu, they're trying to sip fluids. They're probably using sugary drinks, which was going to promote it. And they're going to do whatever they can to stay cool. And if you're cooling your body, you're promoting the microbes. You have to let it burn.
Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And do you want to talk about some of the symptoms, some of the most common allergies?
So there's a lot of food allergies. Some of the most common food allergies is gluten. And most people think, hey, I need to be gluten-free and I'm going to be fine. Go ahead. I know you want to jump in.
Yeah, our experience is not so much gluten. Yes, it is an issue, and it's become an issue just because of farming practices. It's more wheat. So people will come and say, "Oh, I got rid of the gluten in our diet." And we're like, "We didn't tell you to get rid of gluten. We told you to get rid of wheat."
Yeah.
Gluten is a part of wheat, kind of like hair is to your head. If we shave your head, you don't have any hair momentarily. And that's the same thing with the wheat. If we remove the gluten, you can still have wheat. And our findings are people are more sensitive to wheat, which includes gluten, not just the gluten.
So besides gluten, dairy is very allergenic. Soy, added sugars, refined sugars, peanuts, corn.
Can I talk about those?
Okay.
I think so dairy, there's a big push to try and get rid of raw dairy. In fact, Pennsylvania, because I practiced in Jersey for a while, was down to about 25 raw dairy farms. Now they're up to about 120, which is awesome to see. But if you look at raw dairy, people are scared away from it because they think it can harm them. Not true. You look at a cup of milk from raw dairy, it's about 10,000 cow pus cells in that cup of milk. And you say, ew. But if you get pasteurized milk has roughly 750,000 cow pus cells in it. And that's why people have an allergic reaction to it. It's to the cow pus that's in that pasteurized milk. And so the farms aren't as clean because if you're pasteurizing, the thought is you don't have to clean the animal as much. If it's wrong, it's a very clean farm. Soy, you just should not have soy. Most soy, over 95% in the United States, is genetically modified soy. And that's why we see a lot of prostate, breast, uterine, cervical, and ovarian cancer. So just get soy in your diet.
It's a hormone disruptor as well. So a lot of women, especially, if they're having a lot of issues with their hormones and feeling out of whack, they're eating things with a lot of soy in it, and you want to get that out of your diet.
Interesting. Wow. And can I just ask you, what is whey? I'm hearing soy, but I know people put what is whey what is whey? Whey protein people add to some of their drinks. I know they add soy too. What is the whey? Does that have anything to do with anything?
That's a dairy product. So
it is. Okay.
It's like, think of like you're skimming the proteins off the top of the milk. That's easy to describe it. And so people still have a lot of sensitivities to the whey because it's still dairy.
Got it. And just another quick question. I've noticed, maybe we just didn't know when we were younger, but all these kids, and my kids are 5 and 7, they're in these classes, they're peanut-free classes. There's so many peanut allergies these days. Is that something that's always been, or is it something that we're eating that's going wrong? We're happening genetically, we're mutating because something is wrong for everyone to be so allergic. Am I crazy to think that?
No, you're not.
Or are we just more aware of it and it always existed and something's going on?
It's more prevalent because of all of the juice that they inject into kids.
Okay.
A lot has to do with that. A lot has to do with the foods that we're feeding people today. It's, when I was growing up, I got a few years on you. When I was growing up, it was rare to see that, morbidly obese person. Today, it's quite common, and we even see it in children. And a lot of that has to do with the foods that we're eating, and people are so sensitive to it, and they don't realize it. When we clean up somebody's diet after about 2 weeks and they try and eat something that they shouldn't be having, they'll come in and they'll tell us, wow, I had XYZ and I couldn't believe how I felt. Never realized I was feeling like that before.
Wow. All right.
So a lot of, I know we don't like to discuss it totally, but the vaccines they've increased substantially from back when we were kids. And so kids are getting injected, and there is actually a lot of times peanut in those injections. And so
fetal cells and aluminum and formaldehyde.
But as they're getting more and more, it's causing more children to have peanut allergies because their body can't handle what's being put in. It can't process it as much as it did because it's double and triple and sometimes quadruple the dosages of what it was when we were kids. So the more you inject into a body, if the body response can't filter those toxins out, it causes an allergy. And you need to get those extra chemicals and things out of the body, which will help reduce that.
Right. And you look at when I graduated high school, we had about 16 vaccines. Now kids get 67 by the time they go into first grade. And my question for everybody is, let's not make this a vaccine issue. Let's just make it a question. Are children healthier today than they were 40 years ago? The answer is no.
No, I think so. I don't want to get it wrong. No. Yeah. Interesting.
Right. And peanuts, another thing for peanuts, they grow along the ground, so they tend to be moldy. And that's why people suffer from them.
That's what, other nuts are a little bit better. Peanuts tend to have a lot of mold in them. So that's why a lot of people do have a peanut allergy. And so when we go back to foods, if it is a food allergy, it's really important to eliminate. You want to eliminate the most common allergens in the foods that I just mentioned. Usually all packaged processed foods for sure are going to be an issue. Fast foods, things like that. So you want to get rid of all the dairy, the gluten, the soy, the sugars, all of those things, get rid of all of that, which is what most people eat on a daily basis. Most people are not eating vegetables and things that are good for them. But you want to eliminate all that first. Most of the time, just getting that out of your diet is going to resolve your allergy symptoms. Now, there are people who are going to have something a little more severe that we would find different chemicals and things like that. But that alone is going to help you resolve your allergy symptoms, just getting rid of a lot of the foods that you're consuming on a daily basis.
Right. Thank you. Sorry for the digression. We'll continue with the notes. Where were we?
No, it's good. It's good. So I guess you're probably wondering, what can you eat? If you're eliminating all of those things, what are some of the things that you should be eating? Okay. So you're going to want to eat obviously lots of vegetables. You can eat egg yolks. It's funny because most people want to eliminate that. I know last week we talked about, cholesterol and things like that. And egg yolks, people were always like, I can't do that. I have to cut that out. But it's really important. The egg yolks are very high in vitamin E, and it doesn't raise your cholesterol. So the yolk actually is a better part to be eating if you are having that. Adding lots of essential fats to your diet, olive oil, coconut oil, things like that, making sure you're eating lots of that. Anything else you want to add?
Oily fishes, your North Atlantic fishes, your salmon, your cod, pollock, herring, sardines. Those are just really fantastic. A lot of oils, a lot of fats in those fishes that'll really be helpful.
And pineapple is very anti-inflammatory. So adding pineapple to your diet is going to help reduce inflammation in the body. Turmeric is another great spice that's very anti-inflammatory that you can add as well. Little
comment on turmeric.
Yes.
So turmeric, you see out there when advertising that, turmeric and it's mixed with black pepper because black pepper helps increase the absorption. That's a true statement. But then the black pepper functions with the liver to shut off the function of the turmeric once in the body. You want your turmeric mixed with fenugreek. Fenugreek will help enhance the absorption much better than black pepper. But then when it hits the liver, it actually helps enhance the function of the turmeric and putting the fires out, which is the inflammation in the body.
Interesting. And by the way, I think you mentioned turmeric before. What else is it good for us?
Pretty much everything. A lot of anti-inflammatory.
People put teas, you make tea with it, right? Yeah, anti-inflammatory. Okay.
Yeah, so if you're making a tea with it, you're looking at decreasing the inflammation in the gut. And as it gets in the body and starts circulating, you get to the point where it's decreasing the inflammation in organs, in the brain. And it's just really a wonderful supplement. You give somebody that has like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you really want to decrease that inflammatory response in the brain. And that's where, MediHerb's Turmeric Forte is probably the best. But again, people get timid with whole food supplements and you can't. If you're trying to make a change, you have to put them on enough that's going to cause that change to occur.
And while you're talking about supplements, we have to talk a little bit more about what supplements are going to help with your allergy symptoms. So one of the great products is vitamin C. Okay. Vitamin C prevents the histamine, the formation of histamine. So vitamin C is a great product if you do have allergies to be helping to reduce that histamine effect of the allergy.
But not ascorbic acid that you buy in the store. Whole food complex that has all 8 components of vitamin C.
So it's very important to know that you don't want to just get that. And when you go to the store, you will notice in parentheses, it will say ascorbic acid. That is not what you want. You want the whole complex of the vitamin C, but that'll help reduce the histamine response. So that's a great product to use. Probiotics are great for the body as well. It helps give that good bacteria in the gut, which helps the body's immune response. So that's a great product to be using also. It's always good to use a multivitamin. We use Catalin here because Catalin is going to help with your body's metabolism. It's going to help with digestion. It's also going to increase the immune system. So it's really important. There are a few things you should be taking on a regular basis just to help with that, not only for your own health, but also to reduce allergy symptoms, especially if that's something that you experience. And essential fat is always important as well, because it helps with reducing hay fever, things like that. Any other ones that you want to?
When we talk vitamins, there's a misconception out there that high doses are good. And that's not really true. You don't need high doses. Nobody needs a shot of 500 milligrams of vitamin C. Our tablet has a whopping 6 milligrams. And it's rare that we get people on, dosage more than maybe 36 milligrams in a day. It happens, but it's rare. And so that's not something, any vitamin, you don't want to see hundreds of milligrams. Your B complex, when you open up a bottle of B complex from the store and smell it, what you're smelling is coal tar. The chemical, coal tar from the ground.
That?
The tar that they find when they mine coal.
Oh, Okay. I'm not familiar with it. Okay.
So if you open up that bottle and you have that funky smell, like, whoa, what is that?
Whoa.
Patients bring them in all the time, and we do our best to educate them on that so you can even smell the things that are harmful for you.
Yeah. And if you have more severe issues while you're cleaning up your diet and you're doing other things, there's a couple other products sometimes we use, Allerplex, Antronex, things like that, which will help you more for acute issues that are happening right now as you're eliminating the foods that are causing the allergies or taking out of your home things that are causing them as well. Like those plugins I was talking about, candles are another one. A lot of people, especially right now, have all the candles lit and most of them are very, very toxic. And you put all those chemicals into your house and now everyone's sneezing and snotting and things like that. And it's really being caused by the candles and the plugins that they're using in their home and things like that, that you want to eliminate those things and it'll help resolve your symptoms also.
Go for the diffuser and real essential oils.
Beautiful. Awesome. And still we have a few minutes left in the show. What else could we do to talk about resolving allergies?
Well, movement is also important. People forget about the exercise and movement. Okay. You need to do a little bit of exercise, which will also help with those allergy symptoms. It helps to decrease them by improving blood flow. So most people, you don't have to go crazy, but get out, go for that walk, do those things and start moving your body every day so the blood can flow and get those things out of your system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gets it out of the periphery, gets into the liver and spleen where it needs to be filtered, and it gets filtered out of the body, opens up circulation. And you mentioned Antronex. Antronex is a great product because the Yucatan factor, we'll talk about that in another show, but that helps open up and drain the liver so that it can be cleaner, and that helps to reduce allergies and the histamine response significantly.
Essential oils are also great. Mm-hmm. We talked about the diffuser, but you could use certain essential oils as well in the diffuser and internally if you're using the right kind of product that will help resolve your symptoms also. We only use doTERRA in our office because we know how pure they are. And so you don't want to just go over to the store and pick anything up and take it. Most of them have toxic chemicals in it. So you definitely need to know what products you're using. And like I said, we only use doTERRA. They're third-party testing. I trust them. You can take them internally. Make sure you read the label because there are a few products that you can't. Mm-hmm. But Tri-Ease is a great product as well. Like if you're experiencing it right away, has peppermint oil, lavender, and lemon. Clears out the liver, opens up the airway so you can breathe well. It's a great product to use. Using a neti pot if you're suffering, you kind of pour it in one nostril, out the other. It cleans things out of the nasal passages. Garlic is great. Getting an adjustment. People forget about that.
Yeah.
Getting an adjustment and opening up your nervous system so the body can do what it needs to do is very important as well.
So if you need to contact us, our phone number here is 586-445-8032. You can also find us on the web at shoreswellnesssolutions.com.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for being here. And in closing?
Well, I'm Amy.
I'm Dr. Dave, and we want to be your inspiration
for healthy living.
And Merry clearly Christmas, you are. Thank you so much, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy holidays. Are we back next week? For the holiday?
I believe so. Unless...
All right, good, perfect. I'm here. Can't wait. We'll talk then. Have a great day. And thank you for all this information. I really appreciate it.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great
barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.